Welcome back to the Excel Still More podcast. I'm so thankful that you've joined. Today's episode is sponsored by Spiritbuilding Publishers. This group of Christians is committed to providing fresh, relevant, and practical Bible study material for today's Christian families and churches. Their workbooks and devotionals are rooted in Scripture, easy to teach, and written for the real world we live in. Whether you're studying with teens or leading a class or just growing on your own, the Spirit Building website provides you with a wide variety of options. You can visit them at spiritbuilding.com and discover materials that can help you and your church excel still more. Hey, welcome back. I want to first thank you for some really kind comments for last week. The Proverbs 31 study and how it affects young men and young women and the future of families is very important to me, and I think maybe it's important to others as well. I'm really hoping to work it into the 2026 meeting schedule. The more I spend time on it and look at my own life, even after nearly 30 years of marriage, and certainly my kids, I just think it's important. And what we'll do today is just continue that discussion some. I went ahead and kept the title of today's episode, Young Faithful Men, Part 2, and we will feature the content of the book of Song of Solomon. But really, it's just young lovers, it's young married, it's young attracted, young dating. It's all of the teenage through 20-something relationships and how to develop them in the right and appropriate way, the faithful way, the holy way, but with incredible passion and love. So I think I probably will put a little bit more, at least initial emphasis on young men as we look through this series of points, but we'll apply it across the board. So can I ask you, when is the last time you read the Song of Solomon? It's been several years for me, but our Excel Still More daily Bible read, it cycles through the New Testament ongoingly, but also recently we just started back in Genesis 1 and said, let's have a concurrent Old Testament chapter a day read, and we just finished up yesterday, Song of Solomon. I've pretty much come to believe that it's not really about Solomon. He's clearly in the picture and kind of a side person with power and riches and all of these women, but the emphasis seems to be upon two young people who are deeply in love. There are plenty of overtones, I guess is the word, or imagery for their physical sexual attraction. And if they are, in fact, in marriage, then there is a lot of exploring one another's body. It's a very PG-13 letter. And I don't need to say this to you, but I do. Those elements are really, really important. The sexual element of married people, particularly in the years of health and energy and ability, are far more important probably than they get emphasized to be. There's a stigma that doesn't discuss healthy sexual relationships, and there needs to be more of that. I'm afraid of it, just like many others, so we won't put tons of emphasis there, but I want to tell you a couple things. One, it's worth the conversation. It's worth podcasts like Intimate Covenant that talk about that. That's a podcast for married people, not unmarried people. It needs to be absolutely flourishing. I've taught for 25 years in pre-marriage counseling, and usually in the wedding ceremony itself, that there are three unique types of love in Scripture. There is caring love, romantic love, and sexual love, and they are not the same. You have to see it like three containers in front of you that all three, each of them need attention, and marriage is healthy when they're all filled. Caring love is just treating someone right because God made them. We're told to love our friends and our enemies and everyone. If you're a human being made in the image of God, you have rights, and that's caring love, treating people kindly. Romantic love is not sexual. It's just making the other person feel special, unique, and you're going to hear that today in Song of Solomon. That's something that gets established in dating, and in my opinion, there should not be marriage unless there is a level in dating of romantic love so that you can confidently say, you are the only one, and it can be said back to you. And then sexual love is exactly what you think it is, described in Proverbs and in various places in Scripture. Each of them need attention. They all matter, and we need to say that more. But I need to add this second thing. If you are listening and you are not yet married, this episode is for you. There are some things you need to be looking for in the person that you're dating. There are some things you need to be feeling and thinking in the early parts of your relationship to know that marriage is going to be a great step for you, but the physical, sexual interaction between a man and a woman is only for marriage. The work you're doing before marriage, you'll hear about it today, is preparing you for that. It's making sure this is the person you want to share your life with and your body with, but you must reserve that privilege for marriage. It's the only one of the three that must be only shared in that covenant. Okay, I think I got all of that pretty plainly and I believe needfully laid out. Now let's dig in a bit on Song of Solomon. I just want to share with you 5 ideas. Please consider them. And again, no matter how long you've been married, please reconsider them. It'll make a big difference. Number 1, cherish deep emotional connection. One of the things you find in this letter is these two are infatuated with each other. They think about each other. They talk to one another passionately and beautifully when they see each other. When they're apart and they're talking to others about one another, it's just awesome stuff. They have built a life where they are plugged in and they feed off of the need for one another. And you might hear that and go, boy, that can be really unhealthy. And yeah, everything can be taken to the extreme. It can become inhibiting to carrying out the will of God or healthy relationships otherwise. But I'm here to tell you that's pretty rare. It's much more a risk for young people to believe, let's say you're unmarried, to believe this is my person and I'm in love and I'm going to marry them. But I don't know how connected emotionally I feel with them. How important is it for me to share my day with them, to hear how they feel, and to be a partner to that, to be involved in that? If this person is just one of many people that you share mutually certain base levels, shallow levels of emotion with, then your marriage will not start off well. These two definitely were attracted to one another's bodies. Let's be clear there. It's the whole letter. But there's also this expression of just joy, being together, comfort and security, and a deep emotional intimacy that found joy in life. He went off to work at times, and she had others she was talking to, but mainly in one another. This certainly feeds the Genesis narrative that the two become one flesh. You are one, except with two complementing, encouraging, sharing, helping minds and hearts that function together. If you are not yet married, but you're dating someone and it's already become very routine to just check in with each other, but you don't fuel off of their need for you and you for them, and you don't find the highest point in your day when you're sharing or looking into each other's eyes, then be mindful that you need to reevaluate this relationship. If you are married, please invest in this. I can tell you multiple stories. I won't tell you any, but I can tell you multiple stories about people who were only in their first or second or third year of marriage, and they thought it was just going to be the two of them against the world, just you and me. And then life happened. Education, occupation, recreation, other people, the burden of bills and difficulties and struggles. And before long, they were emotionally investing themselves in escapism, things that are not one another. What they thrived on was not the eyes or hands of the other, and things spiraled. Spend time on that. Be committed to it. I'll throw this in now in case I forget. Anytime I go to a meeting, and I may have mentioned this last week, I can't recall, but lately for sure, if I see a couple that's been married less than a year, I just take them aside and say, really invest in this. Find each other, find ways of connecting with each other, invest in working through the distractions, in categorizing the priorities, and in handling the problems. Because if you get to the end of year one and you feel like the way that you connect and the way you feel about each other is a net negative, that is very difficult to recover from because it grows exponentially in the negative direction. But on the other hand, if you will draw closer, no matter what it takes, draw closer, feed on one another in all three categories of love, and you get to the end of the year and you go, things are even better than the night we were married, that grows exponentially as well. And I'm talking about amazingly. So point number 1, cherish deep emotional connection. Number 2, celebrate each other's uniqueness. This is the very essence of romantic love. You are the one. There is only one. And I need to make sure you know it and you feel it and you're able to draw comfort and confidence from it. In Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 2, he says to her, like a lily among the thorns, so is my darling among the maidens. She responds, like an apple tree among the trees of the forest, so is my beloved among the young men. In this shade I took great delight and sat down, and his fruit was sweet to my taste. Now, again, there's a lot here about a bride and a groom and the sharing of very physical things. I've got a really great friend, Brent Moody, that's all about that. He's not going to like this episode because I'm working some application here in more of the caring and romantic love and not always just the physical. But I think we would agree on this. This is romantic love. Romantic love is when I look at all of the maidens that exist in our lives and around our lives, they are thorns, and you are the lily. She said, well, I'll tell you this. In this forest, there are trees everywhere that describes all of the young men around me, but there is only one apple tree, one in whom I delight to sit beneath and eat of the fruit. If you are dating even, but certainly if you are married, no matter how many years you've been married, does your spouse believe that they are the most beloved and special person in your life, and that if you could choose from anyone, anywhere, you would always choose them? That is what made this relationship so flourishingly beautiful, and it is so desperately needed in marriages today. And it's not just on them to feel that way. I have to make her feel that way. I have to use words of kindness and affirmation and about her beauty and about how much she means to me so that there's no doubt in her mind that she is uniquely loved. If you don't feel that for the person that you're dating, then unless something changes, that's not the person for you. If you are newly married, I know you feel it. You've got to. Make sure to keep leaning into it and don't ever let this go. This November 29th will be 28 years, to be precise, for Summer and me, and I'm still getting up in the morning going, what can I say? How can I look at her or speak to her, or what words can I use to make her see that she is incredible and she is the only beauty, the greatest gift that God has given me under the sun. Now, before we move on here, this is why I talked about 3 different categories of love that each have their own canister that needs to be filled. This is not the same thing as caring love. If I bring home a paycheck, that's not romantic love. If she makes dinner for him, that's not of necessity romantic love. Those are responsibilities you carry out because you care about the other person, and it's what you've signed up for. Romantic love is more than caring love, but it is also not necessarily sexual love. That is often something we participate in to meet our needs and to meet theirs. But romantic love comes before that. And I'll give you an example from the book of Genesis to illustrate this. Do you remember when Jacob married Rachel and Leah? He did not desire to be married to Leah, yet, you will note, he cared for her. He gave her the food and covering that she needed, and he was physically intimate with her. She had a handful of kids, but the text said she was unloved. Well, how does that work? If he was paying the bills and they were having their time in bed together, how could she feel unloved? Well, it's because he only had eyes for someone else. He never could give her that romantic, you're the lily of the valley affection. Marriages need this. If you feel it, share it. And if you don't, maybe it's time to go back and start dating again. Start finding each other in a special way. Okay, number 3, guard the relationship with patience and purity. There's a phrase that occurs repeatedly throughout the Song of Solomon. It's one of the only phrases laid out like this. And here's what it says: I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and by the hinds of the field, that you do not arouse or awaken my love until she pleases. Now, it could be that the groom is saying that. That's what it sounds like. He's telling all these women, don't arouse my love until the right time. But it can also be translated in this way, that you do not arouse or awaken my love until it pleases, in which case it could be the bride talking to her ladies about don't incite in me this passion for him until the right time. Based on those two possibilities, here are 2 different ways of looking at that passage pertaining to guarding your relationship with patience and purity. Maybe it's the young man telling this group of women, look, my love is not for you. I don't want you to arouse my love, romantic or physical, because it must wait for the one to whom it is given. This is something that has to be your absolute decision from the point that you enter into a covenant with someone to be married with them for life. Will there be men or women, others out there who try to arouse your love? Maybe. Will there be temptations? Potentially. There has to be a proclamation that I will guard what belongs only to my spouse, even if I have to openly say, leave me alone. The other interpretation might be the women talking to the girl who perhaps is betrothed and not yet married. and saying, hey, you guys need to go ahead and enjoy all this love. And she's going, not yet, not until the right time. I'm not sure about that, but I know both of those points are important. If you're unmarried, let no one talk you into believing that what God has reserved for two bodies shared as one in marriage has any place before it's time. Pray about that. Lord, do not awaken my passion or love, even with the one whom I have chosen, until it is right. And once you have chosen that one, make sure that no one else gets to arouse that love in you at any point ever, because it would not be right. It belongs to her. That is the kind of purity commitment before marriage and unique to one-person commitment in marriage that can make all the difference for the rest of your life. Okay, number 4, and I will recap all of these at the end. Stay committed through seasons of change and separation. Being apart is not the plan, but sometimes it is inevitable with work or with different things that happen in life that demand attention. That's found in Song of Solomon. In chapter 2, he went out and labored, and it was important for him to go and do those things and for them to be apart and for them both to be productive. In chapter 3, she's just looking for him. I don't know where he is, but she can't find him, and she's distraught, and she's having to cope with being patient and waiting till the time of their restoration. True love that's built on the right principles endures through separation and challenges of schedule and different things that have to happen. We are intimately and emotionally connected on the deepest possible level, but it doesn't mean we stare into each other's eyes 24/7. We have to go out and serve people and be productive and utilize this life to the glory of God, many times together, yes, but also in a way that can endure when that's not the case. I'll tell you about my life. I travel about 10, 12 times a year, get on an airplane most of those times, and fly off for 3, 4, 5 days to go preach the gospel somewhere, to try to help people, and it hurts. It hurts every time to leave my family, and it's always the most precious moment to walk back in. But I have complete trust in her, certainly her faithfulness, but also her strength, mental and spiritual strength to attend to our children and care for our home. And she has trust in me that I'm going away to do something valuable and trying not to overdo it, which I've done in the past and we've had to talk through. I'll tell you this, if separation or just responsibilities of life are deeply straining your marriage, it may mean those things need to change. It really may. But I will tell you, my experience, more often than that, it's time to get back to the drawing board of how are we connected? How are we sharing? How are we utilizing the time, the majority of the time, that we do get to be together? How are we building the kind of trust and connection that can endure not only separation, but just seasons of challenge and change that maybe we didn't even see coming? Maybe for this point, if you're dating or newly married or wherever you are in your relationship, maybe think about the way you think about each other, the way you text or call or consider when you are apart. Even if it's short term, if you're dating, you don't live in the same home, maybe you don't see each other all the time. How do you think about that person? How do you think about other people around you? Kind of taking all of our points together. Sometimes the way we handle those times, those seasons, those separations can tell us a lot about the quality of our relationships. Okay, I probably could and should say more, but for the sake of time, let me pull this together, and I think the 5th point will tie it all well. Number 1, cherish deep emotional connection. Really invest in building closeness and honesty and trust. Number 2, celebrate each other's uniqueness. This person should feel like the number 1 most important person in your whole life, the person you need the most, your greatest blessing. Number 3, guard the relationship with patience and purity. If you're not yet married, that means holding off on the things that God preserved for later. If you are married, it means holding out for good from sharing it with anyone else. Number 4, stay committed through seasons of change. Be just as strong when you're not in the same room together as you are when you're right there, hand in hand. And then lastly, let me just put it this way. Invest the time and attention to building this out right. It will pay dividends. It will pay exponential benefits in your life that will affect your faith, how you interact with fellow church members, with neighbors, how you preach the gospel, how you raise your kids, how you influence your grandkids. The entire legacy of your life, in most cases, in many cases, is built upon marriage and the condition. So make that daily investment in now making this day great, but even more than that, in helping to create incredible experiences later. I use the term investing. Song of Solomon talks about how effectively love like this cannot be quenched or swept away, and all the wealth in the world would be scorned in comparison to it. There's some takes on this letter that say that Solomon was pursuing this woman, but instead of Solomon with his riches and all of his goods, she chose this poor shepherd boy for all of her love. I'm not sure if that's the way of looking at it, but I'll tell you this, investing in a beautiful marriage pays off more than any dollar amount can imagine. I mean, in a literal sense, a lot of people have given half of their dollar amount because they did not properly work their marriage, one or both. But I'm here to tell you that some of the things we worked on in the first few years, some of the non-negotiable night outs and attention to each other and conversations and the way we've tried to build has literally, not exaggerating, made year, whatever I'm in, 28 better than year 18, year 8, or year 1. It is like money. If you invest $1 a day, 10 years from now, you will have a whole lot more than what you put in. And marriage is like that as well. And I'm so thankful to God that He built it that way. And I want this for you. No matter how long you've been in this thing, going back to these basic concepts can achieve this now. It's like saving money. Just because you're older doesn't mean you shouldn't start. It may mean you have to put in more to try to catch up, but you still get in the game. And certainly, please listen. Listen to Solomon, apply these principles if you are a young, faithful woman or a young, faithful man. Thank you again for listening. If it's helpful to you, please consider sharing with a friend. Speaking of friends, I want to mention once again the sponsor for today's episode, Tyler Cain with Statewide Mortgage. They service Florida, Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Colorado, and Alabama. 20 years of experience. They can help you with home mortgage needs, whether you're a first-time buyer, refinancing, or just discussing future home ownership goals. Their website is in the show notes, or you can reach Tyler directly at 813-380-8487. He is a trusted friend and brother, and I encourage you to reach out to him. And in whatever you do today, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, excel still more.